Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're tackling a fitness phenomenon that is just absolutely everywhere online, yet somehow it remains one of the most widely misunderstood exercises in human history. I mean, why do so many people argue over something as beautifully basic as the push-up? Well, today, we're going to move completely beyond the extreme internet hype and those endless comments section debates. Instead, we're digging straight into the actual peer-reviewed science to uncover the biological sweet spot for daily movement. Let's get into it. So let's start with a question that you've probably wondered about yourself. What really happens to your body when you try that extreme 100 push-ups a day challenge? You've definitely seen it on social media. It's this grueling regimen made super popular by anime characters, like Saitama from One Punch Man. And honestly, it sounds incredibly hardcore, right? It looks absolutely amazing in a quick training montage. But is it actually doing your body any good? The experts over at Built with Science actually hit the nail on the head with this. They asked, will you see improvements in your muscle growth and strength, or will you just get injured? It's a fantastic question because it forces us to look past all that flashy hype. We really have to stop and ask if brute force, just hammering away at the exact same movement every single day, is truly the right physiological approach for our long-term health. Well, if we break down the 30-day timeline of this extreme regimen, week 1 is actually highly deceptive. You're going to experience severe delayed onset muscle soreness, sure, but you also get what we call neural adaptations. Basically, your brain just gets better at recruiting the right muscles, so your strength actually spikes. But fast forward to weeks 2 and 3, and this is where the whole system just falls apart. See, your muscles literally require 48 hours of rest to recover, repair, and grow. Because you aren't giving them that crucial break, severe central nervous system fatigue sets in. By week 4, you're looking at serious muscle imbalances and intense joint strain, especially in your wrists and elbows. So the brute force method doesn't build you up, it honestly just breaks you down. Section 1. The Science of 30. So what's the alternative? The crucial takeaway here is that doing just 30 push-ups a day provides incredible physiological benefits, completely skipping that severe elbow and wrist strain of doing 100. 30 is the biological sweet spot. It's just enough volume to trigger massive systemic changes in your body, but it's low enough that you don't actually need that deep 48-hour recovery period. You can do it daily. It's safe, and more importantly, it's sustainable. And at a cellular level, the mechanics behind this are absolutely fascinating. When you do those 30 push-ups, the mechanical stress actually flips a microscopic switch inside your cells called mTOR. You can basically think of mTOR as the biological master switch for building muscle. Once it gets flipped on by that physical resistance, it immediately tells your cells to kick off muscle protein synthesis. It gets right to work repairing and rebuilding those muscle fibers so they come back a little bit stronger and a little bit denser than they were before. Now, flipping that mTOR switch every day becomes a vital defense against something called sarcopenia. If you haven't heard of it, sarcopenia is the natural, inevitable loss of muscle mass and function that we all face as we age. And surprisingly, it starts way earlier than you think, like as early as our 30s. Fighting back against sarcopenia is absolutely essential if you want to avoid life-altering falls and stay physically independent, capable, and thriving in your own home well into your 70s and 80s. Section 2. Whole body health benefits. 40 plus. Now that specific number is a massive, scientifically proven indicator of your future cardiovascular health. It might seem like just a simple metric, but hitting this threshold tells a really profound story about your body's internal engine. There was this major 10-year study of firefighters published in a leading medical journal, and it proved that being able to do 40 or more push-ups in a single go dramatically predicted lower heart attack and stroke risks over a decade. This was especially true compared to those who couldn't even manage 10. But what's truly mind-blowing here is that their push-up capacity was actually a better predictor of future heart health than a standard treadmill test. Why? Because an all-out push-up set tests your muscular endurance, your cardiac capacity, and your vascular health all at once, under high central nervous system load. So when you train towards that 30 to 40 daily mark, you're literally training your heart just as much as your chest. And the systemic benefits definitely don't stop at the heart. Let's talk about your metabolism for a second, specifically these things called GLUT4 transporters. Imagine these transporters as tiny cellular doors that are designed exclusively to let blood sugar in. Normally, in order to open these doors, get sugar out of your bloodstream, and safely tuck it away into your cells, your body needs insulin acting as a very specific key. But here is the incredible metabolic superpower of the push-up. Because muscle contractions bring those glute four-doors directly to the surface of the cell without needing any insulin at all, your daily push-ups physically pull sugar directly out of your blood. You are actively, independently lowering your blood sugar and pushing back against insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes risk. Literally every single time you drop down and do a set. How cool is that? On top of all that, doing push-ups literally feeds your brain. When you forcefully contract those muscles, they release a whole cascade of compounds right into your bloodstream. One of the big ones is called BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. BDNF basically acts like a potent fertilizer for your neurons. It helps form new neural connections, keeps your mind incredibly sharp, and actively wards off cognitive decline and depression as you age. It's just 2 minutes of effort a day, and you're essentially fertilizing your brain. Section 3. The muscle imbalance danger. Now, before you start cranking out reps, we have to talk about a danger here. It ultimately comes down to a physiological battle between the front push muscles and the back pull muscles. Push-ups are phenomenal, sure, but they heavily overload your chest, your triceps, and your anterior or front shoulders. Meanwhile, the muscles in your back, your upper back, your rhomboids, and rear deltoids are just completely unengaged and neglected during a standard push-up. If you don't actively work to balance the push and the pull, your overdeveloped front muscles will physically start to pull your skeletal structure forward. They literally internally rotate your shoulder girdle, progressively ruining your natural alignment and pulling you into a really tight, hunched-over position. It's a slow progression, but it leads directly to chronic pain. Which brings us to a really important question for most of us. What about the damage already done by sitting at a desk all day? Life already has this sneaky way of bowing our upper back through driving, texting, typing, all of it. If you blindly add 30 push-ups a day on top of bad desk posture without adding any balancing exercises, you aren't getting healthier. You're actually just fast-tracking yourself for shoulder pain and severe rotator cuff injuries. So how exactly do we fix this imbalance safely? Well, one great way is by incorporating scapular push-ups. For this specific variation, you get into a standard push-up plank position, but you lock your arms completely straight and solely move your shoulder blades. The goal is to smoothly pinch your shoulder blades together as you sink down an inch or two, and then actively push them as far apart as possible as you rise back up. This highly targeted movement isolates and builds the serratus anterior, which a lot of people call the boxer's muscle. Building up that specific muscle stabilizes your shoulder blades against your rib cage and actively corrects that hunched desk posture. Section 4. A sustainable action plan. To completely balance out your daily push-ups and bulletproof your posture, you should really add these 3 simple upper back exercises. These are actually recommended by former Navy SEAL and fitness expert Stu Smith. First up, arm haulers. You lie on your belly, lift your chest, and swim your arms back for about 30 seconds. Next, you transition right into reverse push-ups. Keep your chest on the floor, but lift your palms up toward the ceiling for 20 to 30 reps. Finally, move straight into birds. Extend your arms out to the side and squeeze your shoulder blades together for another 20 to 30 reps. This entire circuit takes maybe 3 minutes total, requires absolutely zero equipment, and it will quite literally save your rotator cuffs. And I'll leave you with a fantastic pro tip to optimize this whole routine. You can easily split your 30 daily push-ups into 2 sets of 15. Do 1 quick set in the morning and 1 later in the evening. Why split them up? Because doing so keeps that mTOR muscle-building signal we talked about earlier active and topped up throughout the entire day. You are maximizing your muscle protein synthesis and reaping all those cardiovascular and metabolic benefits without ever even coming close to burnout. So, ask yourself this. Are you ready to strip away all the excuses? I mean, there is no gym required for this, absolutely no equipment needed, and 0 commute time. Can you use just 2 minutes today to build a foundational habit that protects your independence, your heart, and your brain for decades to come? Your 80-year-old self is waiting to see what you decide today. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.